So, hello. Are you okay? Good. I won't sing. I play the guitar and I play the piano, but not now. So, my presentation will be a little bit more conceptual. I'm with HR since, I don't know, since 30 years, I would say. 2005, I became HR professor. And in this last 30 years, a lot of things happen, as we all know. I mean, there was the late 90s when Dave Ulrich came across and said, we don't have to be only good in operation, administration, but also good in strategy. Okay, so we fought for the seat at the table. Be strategic, yeah. And then digitization come across. E-recruiting, e-learning, applicant tracking systems, employee self-services, new business model, efficiency, a new way of leadership and organization, agility. And we started to question a lot of our common HR practices and processes like performance appraisal and all the like. And then the demographic changes. I mean, the war for talent was already described in the late 90s. Yeah, in this book, The War for Talent. But now we feel it more and more. And I really can say, in Germany, this is a burning issue. And it's the same for you. And it makes our life really hard. We think about immigration, we think about completely new ways of talent acquisition, we think about employer branding, active sourcing, and all the like. And then COVID came. And with COVID, we learned that there might be a new way of working from home, for instance, distance, the matter of connectedness with the team and the organization became an issue. And it is not a long time ago. And since last couple of years, we're talking about things like social justice. This came on top of all this. We talk about diversity, we talk about equity, we talk about inclusion. We have all the wokeness and all the like. And now we have artificial intelligence. And you know, the thing is that all these things always came on top. And when I look back in the year 2005, when I became professor, I had a shelf of HR textbooks, really. I had to prepare my HR lecture, 2-semester lecture on HR. Part of this you find on YouTube. And when I look at those HR textbooks, we really have to rewrite them. They were already outdated in 2005. HR was reinventing itself so much in the last decades. And that really overwhelms us a little bit. And the thing is, what I've seen in the last 20 years in HR, and I've seen a lot, is that we were very much driven by those developments. We were very much driven by digitization, COVID, social justice, and all these things. And what I would like to show you today is an alternative instead of being just driven by external trends, forces, zeitgeist, and all the like. I want to give you some orientation, so to speak. And I brought with me 2 statements. Here is the one. I know, this is an ugly slide. That's why I read it to you, okay? So, in HR, we follow standardized, optimized processes, reducing complexity and driving efficiency. Our single IT system supports consistent operations across multiple fields of HR, ensuring transparency and fairness. We take ownership of all people-related matters, providing expertise and guidance, while leveraging digital platforms to maintain oversight. This enables us to guide employees and managers effectively. Who likes this statement? Okay. Now here's the second statement. Different challenges in areas like recruiting and development and the like require tailored solutions. We emphasize differentiation because employees and managers work under unique conditions. We value individuality and avoid standardization. We believe they know best what works for them, so we enable them to take responsibility for HR matters. Our role is to support their autonomy. We trust in their ability to self-regulate as capable, independent individuals. Who likes this statement? Much more, okay. So there are 3 things I would like to share with you, and take these as a fundamental guidance for your HR work. Really, I think these are really underlying dimensions that you can use for your work. And really, I would expect every HR leader to be clear in what you prefer. So the first thing I would like to talk about is what I call strategic differentiation. The second one is enabled self-regulation, and the third one is guided individuality. And I would like to give you a little bit an idea of what those things might mean. Let's start with strategic differentiation. So here is an example. Let's talk about talent acquisition, recruiting, okay? And, you know, when we do textbook-style recruiting, I know what we do. You post an ad, collect the applications, make the selection, make an offer, and the thing is done, right? This is the standard process as we always knew it. It's written in the Bible to do this way, right? So we do this over and over again for every single vacancy. And when it won't work, we call the headhunter. So in times of talent shortage, first we lose time, and then we lose money, right? So what I really would like to recommend to you is differentiate. Look at the various needs that you have in talent acquisition. In IT, in sales, in R&D, in production, in supply chain, in HR, in wherever, right? And look at these different needs and sort them to some extent. So the first question is, of course, low strategic relevance. Do you need good people? High strategic relevance means, do you need the best of the best of the best? I don't mean the best possible, I mean the best. Yeah? Some HR leaders would say, I want the best everywhere. No, you don't. You can't afford it. So where do you want the best? Some would say, well, I want to have the best of the best scientists on this position because the future of the organization depends on it. I want to have the best data scientist here because the future of our organization depends on this. Okay, that is strategic relevance. The other one is, how much talent is availability on the labor market? Sometimes it's very high, or it's still high, or it's decent to some extent. Okay, simple, lower half. Or there is no talent available at all. It's a nightmare. Top. Sometimes you have a high volume. We want to hire 50 truck drivers every year. We want to hire 100 nurses every year. We want to hire 500 software developers every year. This is volume. And sometimes you only have a single demand every 5 years for one position. Okay? Now, let's sort things into this, and then you get a portfolio like this. And now, a good idea is now to differentiate different scenarios. This is what I would call simple hiring. Simple hiring. You don't need the best. You need the people. They're still available. What do you do there? Job ads. Right. Okay. Specialist hiring. You need one single person where you know there are only 7 people out there in the labor market. It's a nightmare. Forget job ads. Here you have to move. This is hunting. Together with your colleagues, you go out and find this person somewhere on LinkedIn or wherever. And this is much effort. It's direct recruiting, or some would name it active sourcing. Much effort. Here, this is what we call difficult mass hiring or difficult volume hiring. Here you do your nice employer branding campaign, right? That's cool, really. Here you use referral programs. Here you think big, right? And you have very nice recruiting processes that are friendly, Amazonish, so to speak. And here, you want to have the best of the best of the best. Very hard to get. You can't do it by your own. Call the executive search consultant or the headhunter. So you see, these are 4 different scenarios. And that really helps. If I would be your CEO, I would ask you, okay, what is your talent acquisition strategy? And I would like to see something like this. And don't show me your recruiting process. So differentiate. And I could do the same with learning. I could do the same now with pay. I could do the same with everything. The fundamental idea is think differently, yeah, and sort things, and then act upon your differentiation. Now let's talk about self-regulation. I know I've seen where we all came from. We came from organizations like this. You know, we had these different positions and the employees doing their job, and we had the job description and all the like. And when the position became vacant, HR came across and make sure that the vacancy will be filled. Okay, that was our job. And when you look into an old HR textbook, you find this definition. Our job is the right employees at the right time in the right place. This is what we do. In marketing, they take care for the customer. Okay. In supply chain, they take care for the delivery. In HR, we take care for the people and the culture. It's our job. Okay, nice. That, to me, very often sounds very much like external control, meaning we in HR are responsible for attracting, hiring, developing, motivating, satisfying, retaining the right people for the company. You have to make your people happy. You have to take care for their development, for their learning, for everything. This is an old idea. And you put your burden on your shoulder in HR? Really, you want to take responsibility for all that? Really? Okay, good luck. It's an old idea. It's fine, okay, yeah. But it's the idea of we in HR function, we do something with the human resource, right? The opposite is self-regulation. I mean, I wrote a whole book about this. I can recommend this, HR Strategies. And I described HR left side, external control, and I described HR right side, self-regulation. And self-regulation means employees are responsible for attracting, hiring, retaining colleagues themselves. They are responsible for their own development, health, and satisfaction. It's not the role of HR. We enable them. So this is such fundamental differentiation. Okay, let's have an example. Whom of you is doing a 360? 360. Yeah, okay. So a 360, there's an employee, and the employee gets feedback or evaluation from different sides, peers, colleagues, subordinates, supervisors. So the result of this 360 is a report, okay? A statistical report. Who gets this report? Who is supposed to receive the report? Well, who would say the manager in HR? Who would say the person, him or herself only? Okay. The first one was external control. The second one was self-control. The first one was HR needed so that HR can make the right decision upon this person. The manager needs it. This would be 360 review or 360 evaluation. The other one would be 360 feedback. And the employee, him or herself, is responsible to take the result and reflect and think of okay, what should I do better? What should I change, me, myself? Self-regulation. On one side, you have an employee who would say, hey, HR, I want to develop. Yeah, you want to develop? Oh, that's cool. Okay, so let's make a review, and then we take you by the hand and show you your career path, show you your future. Just follow. Do the right thing as we tell you so that you're going to fit to the competence profile. Or in the other scenario, self-control, you would say, if somebody showed up saying, I want to develop, you'd say, That's good. It's good. We want people like you who want to develop. So, do it. How should I do it? All right, John, you're a 33 years old engineer. Hey, man, find it out. Come on. Be an adult. I mean, anyway, being an adult means being capable of self-regulation. This is definition of being adult. Do I want to treat our people like adults or not? That's the question here, right? So we would enable the employees to attract new people. We would enable employees to learn, to find their way, to take their career into their own hands, maybe. This is self-regulation, a fundamental dimension for you. And I ask every CHRO, are you more, as a default setting, more about external control or more self-regulation? This is so fundamental, really. I mean, we can talk about thousands of HR functions now. For instance, another example, the first one was about development. The second one might be about talent acquisition. I mean, don't take responsibility for everything. You know, the golden rule that I have learned in talent acquisition is that penguins hire penguins. If you want to hire lawyers, let lawyers do the job. You want to hire service engineers, let service engineers do the job. They know better than you why a job is so attractive. They have their networks. They have access to the labor market. Only they can convince your future next lawyer, service engineer, or whatsoever. But enable them, maybe as consultant. The third one is guided individuality. And here's a lot to say. I mean, since years I always preach that individuality, to value individuality, to respect individuality, is the root cause for diversity. To respect the natural diversity of people, that's the starting point here. To assume that, as Richard said, we're all different. Thanks God. And that's cool. And you're different than you, and you, and you, and that's cool. Be who you are. It's absolutely fine. So as HR, we might better respect this. But really, one reason why I sometimes really hated HR is that because we don't respect this. And we treat people as if they would all be the same, like in logistics. We are all kind of parcels with different characteristics. No, we're not. And you know, one example where I really find it the most is when I look at performance appraisal. Oh my God. Every year the same conversation about the same topic with the same formula with all employees. All managers have to do the same on all levels in all functions. Standardized process. Not cool. People don't like it, as you know. And it's a difference whether you talk to a junior professional, software engineer, versus you talk to, let's say, an HR senior who spent 30 years with your company and is close to retirement. Your annual dialogue, your annual performance appraisal should look completely different. Yeah? Here are the topics that you could share, that you could talk about in a performance appraisal. Yeah, 30 topics. You could talk about compensation benefits, you could talk about resources, you could talk about task responsibility, about the performance expectation, you can talk about feedback, you can talk about sabbatical, you can talk about leadership, work-life. But these are the topics that matter to people, to different extent. And what I really recommend is to say, and you know, there are card decks out there where employees can choose, I want to talk about this, this, and this, and the manager say, I want to talk about this and this and this. And the other employee and the other manager, they talk about completely different things. Let the employees decide, really. Why? Because they are different, and they work under different circumstances. That's the future. So individuality means to respect this. But individuality and the liberty that goes along with individuality, with respecting individuality, sometimes require a little bit of guidance, you know, a platform, something that might help. And a frame like this can really help. Or think of leadership development. I mean, I've seen it in the last 30 years so often, yeah. This is an example of Merck, pharmaceutical company. This is their leadership framework, yeah. Be purposeful, be future-oriented, be innovative, be result-driven, be collaborative, be empowering. And if you fit to these six things, then you are a good leader. You're a good leader. Really? I don't believe this anymore, really not. This is boss. This is, come on, meaningless. Yeah, it's outdated, I know. But it's just an example. And I can take any organization. I can take any kind of example. Let's talk about leadership now. Let's talk about what really matters for leaders every single day. Yeah? This is a situation that every leader sees every day. You get a mail like this. You know, I'm a dean of a faculty. I get mails like this every day. Hey, Jane, as discussed, the team and I have revisited the workshop concept over the past few days, and I have revised it once again. You can find our ideas attached. It would be great if you could give us feedback by tomorrow evening on whether this is fine with you. Then we could move forward with the implementation quickly. John. This is a typical leadership situation. And now as a leader, I have to do something. What is the right reaction on this? Do I act as a boss, say, okay, like it, change it a little bit like this, and then it's okay? Or is it, I'm a coach. I respond with questions. Are you uncertain about this? Why are you uncertain? Huh? What are your options? What would help? Or I act like a partner, say, let's sit together and talk it through all together in the team and then decide together what to do. Or do I think, okay, just tell me, what do you need? These are the 4 leadership roles. Is there a good role, a bad role? No, not. And I've seen hundreds, thousands of leaders who have their different primary role. My role is different as a dean, for instance, as for many others. And that's fine, you know. If you have 100 leaders in your organization, it's absolutely fine when 100 leaders have the different idea of good leadership. It's absolutely fine. Why? Because the leaders differ with regards to their character, their experience, and they differ with regards to the conditions in which they act. So some really have to be a boss, while some better be a coach, while some better be partner. We in HR, we should really stop telling the leaders how they should lead. They should find it out. And this is, again, a self-regulation. Yeah? Need to help them to find their own individual idea of leadership. I truly believe in this. And that is diversity. Having 100 different leaders with 100 different ideas of leadership. That's absolutely fine. That's diversity. Yeah? So, do you want to have a one-size-fits-all or more strategic differentiation? In your organization, to what extent do you want to follow external control? To what extent enable self-regulation? To what extent do you want to have a standardization versus guided individuality? I would say, based on my experience, these are at least 3 very, very important dimensions that we should consider and reflect on in HR. There's much more to it. But maybe then that can help a little bit, your own orientation. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Professor, thank you. Okay. Before we go on, if you're a professor, we really want to hear one of your failed stories in HR.
Failed story?
Done by yourself, personally.
I was head of global recruiting at SAP once, and we created an employer branding campaign. And the campaign was about hiring nerds. We wanted, again, hiring nerds. You know what a nerd is? Highly introverted, absolute problem solver. Not so social, but very, very smart. And they love pizza, and they work late in the night. And SAP became successful because of the nerds. So we created a nerd campaign. And And we never showed this campaign to the developers before we went out. So at SAP back then, I don't know, we had 60,000 developers, and after this campaign, I had 60,000 enemies in the organization.
Oh my God.
That was, so my learning, before you go out with any campaign in employer branding, show it to your target group. I mean, it's a no-brainer, but I did that mistake, and I would never do it again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.